Going live again with another video. I want to discuss what I really think about Nolan Wells' so-called friends, and I'm using that word friends very loosely because people like to throw around the word friends so lightly when friends is a very bonding word. It's a very serious word. When somebody call you a friend, they're someone who that lays basically that you share the same roof, that someone that you share food with, that shit it on the same table as you. People nowadays just want to call some people friend, and they never break bread with that person. That person never spend time with them, and they don't know them on a personal level. And and these so-called friends of Nolan Wells all claim that they were his best friend. And somebody's my best friend, they practically like a brother to me. Sometimes a best friend could be more closer to you than an actual blood relative, like a brother or sister, or even your actual immediate family. So for them to just say that, oh, we were best friends with Nolan Wells, is kind of disingenuous to me. And that's what makes me believe that they were not really his friends, because they were so quick to claim that they were his best friends. And the mom said she don't even know who they were. She doesn't even know them on a personal level. And this is how you could separate the real from the fake. People who are real and authentic, they don't need to come out the woodwork and say, oh, he was my best friend. Like, I known him for this and why. Like, they were speaking through their actions and not their words. They will show grief. They didn't show any form of grieving or any type of sadness with the news of their friend, if they're true, of their friend dying. It's like they're doing a damage control. 1 second, I gotta use the restroom. Um, oh, you guys, thanks for tuning in. What's up, cuz? Oh, you want it? All right. So yeah, I was just saying basically that these so-called friends of Nolan Wells were fake and phony, and like I said, people are so quick to use the term friend without actually understanding what the meaning of the term friend. You see, when somebody claim that they're your friend, they're someone that sometimes think it closer than a brother. Especially now when you call somebody your best friend, that's practically a member of your family. That's like someone you share your life with. Like, you go into so many details about. Yeah. I don't turn on my camera because I'm in the dark. Like, I have something with the lighting. So I just want to talk through. I don't want to have the camera on right now, so I just want to talk through it. And I'm not doing like a video. I'm just talking through the camera. But if you can hear me, let me know. Yeah. So like sometimes I'll do camera, videos when I have like videos I want to share. If I actually want to like do the interview, show the interview with the so-called friends of Nolan Wells, but I want to talk about what it means to be a friend of someone, because I want to address the topic first, and then. All right, the audio is good? Yeah, so I want to address the whole topic of these so-called friends of Nolan Wells, because they all claim they were his best friend. And you see, that's crazy to me because the mom says she don't even know who they are. And then these so-called best friends of Nolan Wells, all lawyered up, they all behave like actual frenemies. Because if someone is your best friend, they're not going to lawyer up after you end up tragically losing your life. And then they're not going to deactivate their social media. Best friends do not act like that. If they are your best friend, they're going to go the extra mile to seek justice, and they're going to want to know the truth, and they're not going to have anything to hide. I'm going to turn on the camera a little later because I want to address some things, but I don't like fake Like, one thing I don't like is fake people. Give me 1 second. I gotta use the restroom. Like, a couple minutes. I'll be back. I'll be back. Thank you for waiting. Thank you guys for waiting. So I want to address this whole topic with the situation surrounding Nolan Wells. These so-called friends of Nolan are not his real friends. Like I said, you should know them by their fruit. You go based on what people do, not what they say. All of a sudden, these so-called friends of Nolan Wells coming out the woodwork saying, "Oh, I was his best friend, and I've known him since how long, and I went to his mom house, and I did this," and the mom and the parents of Nolan Wells said they don't even know who these people are. So I go based on what people do, not what they say. And I could see a pattern with these so-called friends of Nolan Wells, how they trying to do damage control. They're going on all these different interviews with tap dancing Tatum, this raccoon. This dude is a sellout of the black community because he always going to dog out the black race and talk about how there's no systemic racism and there's no such thing as white supremacy. And he's able to conduct these interviews with these so-called friends of Nolan Wells. And all these people are talking about, man, I've known him for this much, and like he meant so much to me. He's my best friend, and we went out to places and we did all these events together. And I said to myself, if you were his best friend, why are you so quick to do these interviews? You see, when somebody really lose someone they care about, it's gonna take them time to grieve the person. They're not gonna be ready to just go out and do interviews like that. They're gonna need some time to grieve their loss, grieve the let me get rid of this troll right now. This guy said, "Do I like banana?" These trolls out here tripping. But yeah, anyways, let me get back to my channel. I hate when these people just try to disrupt the channel, man. So you see what I'm saying, cuz? Do you feel where I'm coming from? When somebody is your real, when it's like a real best friend that lose someone that's dear to them, it's gonna take time for them to get over the loss. They're not gonna be so ready to do interviews, and even if they do volunteer to do interviews, they're not gonna be able to get their story across. You're gonna see the emotion on their face, the raw emotion. They won't be able to finish the sentence, like when they're trying to give their own story of how they remember their best friend. They're not gonna be able to muster or get the courage to finish the sentence, because they're gonna be able. It's gonna be hard for them to get their word across because they're in a stage of grieving. But for some reason, these so-called friends of Nolan Wells, they're able to just have this stoic look on their faces, and they don't show any emotions. And I don't see no real raw emotion that comes from someone that loses someone that's close to them. You know, like when you lose someone that's close to you, you won't be able to talk. You won't be able to get things off your chest, because it's like the fact that you lost this person that means the world to you. It kind of like brings back the trauma and brings back the emotion of like what do you feel like when you had that person next to you, and you will see the raw emotion, the crying, the sobbing, the breathing hard. You will see it through their body language. But when you see these so-called best friend of Nolan Wells, they have a stoic look on their face. There's no real emotion. You don't see the raw emotion coming out of them. And I'm just saying, these people are fake. They're not his friends. They were snakes. Because you should know them by the fruits. The Bible already speaks that. You know, a lot of things you could learn from the Bible. It gives you a lot of wisdom. And also, I'm a person that have the spirit of discernment. I could just see through. I could see right through people, and I could see right through these so-called friends of Nolan Wells that they're not authentic, they're not genuine. Because if you really lose someone that you care about, you're not gonna be able to hold your own. You're not gonna be able to talk about this person. Sometimes you're gonna struggle to get your point across because you're grieving this person. See, I don't know about you, man, but if I lost somebody that was a best friend of mine, I probably won't even be able to do an interview. I'm gonna need time, several months, sometimes it takes a year for people to go through the grieving process before they'll be ready to do an interview. But so for some reason, these so-called friends are doing the exact opposite. They're doing all these interviews with tap dancing Tatum, who's a sellout of the black community, and then they're doing the so-called damage control campaign to try to make themselves seem like they're innocent and make it seem like they play no part in Nolan Wells passing. And like they are trying to raise money on gifts and I think it's gifts and go, like to basically say people need to stop harassing them and stop accusing them of being responsible for Nolan Wells' death. And it's like they're doing all this work. It's like, what are you trying to prove? That's my honest question. My honest question is, why are these so-called friends of Nolan Wells going so extra hard to prove they're innocent? Like they're doing all these extra interviews and they're raising money, and they hired an attorney that used to represent Donald Trump and trying to go after any content creators that they feel is trying to sabotage them or trying to make accusation against them about them being the main culprit in no one's passing. But I see right through it. God has given me the gift of discernment, and I said these friends are they're culprits, man, in this man's death, this young man's death. Because if it's a real authentic situation where you lose someone that you care about, you're not gonna go out and do all these interviews, and you only go to one specific person, and this person is known for speaking down on the black community. He's known for saying, "Oh, slavery didn't really exist in the sense, oh, black people weren't really oppressed," and he making up all these crazy claims that, well, there was no history of black people losing anything that they built in society by the racist predominant society. Or he would say, man, black people didn't have any money, they didn't this is what he's not an officer anymore, but he still holds the title of officer, even though he has been out of the profession for a long time, right? This clown, right? This tap dancing clown named Tatum, Brandon Tatum. He said that during slavery, black people didn't lose anything because they didn't have an economy. And I was like, because I don't know if you guys seen that interview. I could play when I put on my cameras. I'm gonna get my cameras. I turn on my camera, and I'm gonna play that interview that he did with this black man that's like a expert at looking at body languages and stuff like that. He said in this interview that slaves didn't lose anything because they didn't have any economy. And what's crazy about that is that during slavery, the slaves weren't allowed to keep any of the stuff that they worked for. So all the hard work that they did, the money went straight to the slave owners. And on top of that, slaves actually made a lot of brilliant breakthrough inventions, and all their ideas were stolen from them by the slave owners, and they weren't able to patent their inventions because to the slave owners, they were just seen as properties. So when you think about it, how black people has been, treated throughout society in history, you see that there's a system of white supremacy and also racism that is deeply embedded in the root of this country. And so when people like tap dancing Tatum deny that this stuff ever exists, he's like indifferent to it, and he's also upholding white supremacist ideologies. And these so-called friends were so willing to go and do an interview. They actually invited him over to where they were to do this interview with this guy because they know this dude, he doesn't stand on any principle. He always trying to cape for the white man, or like make them appear as if they can do no wrong. And his platform is more favored. He focused more on the white conservative MAGA group, because one thing about him, he's always trying to stand up and play the be like the attack dog for the white conservatives. And he's like, it's crazy to me that you have this same guy is going the extra mile to prove that these white boys are innocent, like they didn't play no part in Nolan Wells passing. And I'm saying these so-called friends are moving in very funny ways, and it kind of makes me have like scratch my head, because one thing I know about psychology when it comes on to, when a crime is committed, one thing you always do is you always look at the people that are closest to the individual that end up losing their life, because you always gotta view those people and do a thorough analysis on those individuals, because they're familiar with the person, and they're in close proximity to that individual. So it's imperative to not just rule out these people as possible suspect, because they're familiar with this individual. They know them more than anybody else. So for people to just like, for him to just say, oh, they had nothing to do with no one's passing, it's asinine to me. They didn't even. Okay, you see, when a friend loses someone, they're not gonna move the way that these friends did. They left him alone, apparently on the island, without his phone. And then I'm like saying to myself, you could leave somebody on the island by themselves and not think anything of it, not be like concerned about this. As if they're your best friend, why would you just leave that person on the island by themselves? A best friend is not going to leave their friend behind. And they're also not going to talk to their friend like any type of way. Because I heard during the interview that somebody said to Nolan Wells to get on the effing boat. And I'm just saying, what? It's like they don't respect him as a person. So what I honestly believe happened, and this is just my opinion, I believe a physical altercation actually ended up happening between Nolan Wells and one of this so-called friend. And it happened near the boat, or something happened. But I just know that these friends, they're acting very suspicious. And I'm just asking myself, like, what kind of best friend is gonna just like leave their friend behind? And then on top of that, there are like, their stories are changing. They're not staying consistent with what they're saying during the interview, and you can see on their body language they look very uncomfortable. They don't look like they're comfortable. Like they look uneasy during the interview. Like, the way they sit, they have their hands crossed. They're looking at each other, like giving each other certain looks and glances, and the body language just seems off, man. It just seems off. So I'm not ruling out these so-called friends as possible suspect, because you got to consider every single thing. You always look at the people that's closest to the individual as like possible suspect. Most of the time, the people who end up unaliving the person is the people that are closest to them. Their brothers, their sisters, their friends, their so-called associates, the people that know them. Those are likely the people that are the culprit of the crime. So I'm like, it's like Brandon Tatum, tap dancing Tatum, is trying so hard to protect these white kids, and it's like, why are you trying to protect people you don't even know? And you see, what's in the darkness must come to the light. People do things behind closed doors, and it's like they say things and do things to make themselves appear to be some way, but like behind closed doors they have evil intentions. So I'm not gonna go based on what somebody say. Somebody could say, oh, I never did anything, I never unalived this person, or I've always loved this person. But you should know them by the fruits. You should know someone based on how they act. Go based on their actions, because actions always speaks louder than words. And with the way the friends of Nolan Wells are behaving, I am very suspicious about it. I'm very suspicious about it. And so in this interview, I'm going to play this interview. I want to like let you guys see how, Brandon tap dance, Brandon tap dancing Tatum has so much energy, right? He want to talk. He want to talk back to this host. That's a black man, but you're gonna see a difference between how he talks to this black man versus how he talks to Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace, as you guys don't know who she is, she's a white woman that's that speaks on Nolan Wells, but she's kind of like a grifter, just like Tap Dancing Tatum, because she made several videos about Nolan Wells, and those videos have garnered like millions of views. But she's the same one that dogged out Carmelo Anthony and spoke negatively about him and said, "Oh, he needs to be locked up for first-degree murder," even though Carmelo Anthony did fought back in self-defense and it wasn't premeditated. But she said, "Oh, he needs to be locked up for first-degree murder because he's premeditated," even though there's no proof that it was premeditated, right? And even when the sentence was handed out, and I think he was sentenced to like 30 years in prison, she's like, "No, he used to be locked up for life." You know, she said a lot of derogatory things about Carmelo, and she's the same one that was saying all this stuff. But then she wants to grift off of the case with Nolan Wells, and she wants to pretend as if she cares and she understands, but she's just doing it because of likes, clicks, and views. But anyways, let's play a video with Brandon tap dancing Tatum. Look how he disrespect this black man in this interview. Let me look up this interview that he had with this man. Look at the energy he's giving this man. Like how he just like, you see, he acts like he's superior to the black race because he identifies as conservative, and so he's caping for the white conservatives in this country, and he doesn't stand for anything. And when it comes on to criticizing black people, he always has something negative to say. But when it comes on to conservatives, white conservatives, oh man, he always come to their defense. He's like basically their attack dog. You can't speak negative. You can't come and try to speak you can't address anything because he's gonna come and try to defend them and cape for them. So I want to see this interview. I want to show you this interview. This man is an actual clown. What he did this interview with this man. What is it? So bear with me. I can't find that video. I can't find the video, but you guys see where I'm coming from? You guys see what I'm coming from? I go based on actions. I don't go based on what people say. It's so easy for somebody to say, "Oh, he's my best friend and he meant so much to me and we share so many experience together. We have so much good time. We share so many good times as people and as friends." And I've just said, well, anybody could say they're someone's best friend. It's easy for someone to say they were a best friend of someone. But it's another thing for that person to actually show that through their actions. And I don't go based on what people say. I go based on what they do. That's just the type of person I am. That's why I'm not so quick to claim anyone as my friend, because friend is a very deep word to me. When somebody is a friend, they literally share bread with you. They spend time with you, and they sit down and break bread with you. And you sometimes share a lot of personal stuff that you go through with them. They know a lot of things that you know that other people don't know. They help you through good and bad. You help them through good and bad. And it's like that friendship is very unique. It's like something that you don't see too often. And too often you got people out here that are so quick to call each other's friends, but these people don't even know each other on a deeper level. And they just know this person on a surface level. And it's like more like an associate type of relationship where you may go out to places with this individual. You do fun activities and you do all this stuff. But when it comes on to like actually spending time with that person, quality time, you don't really spend quality time. So I don't really believe these people are really friends of Nolan Wells on that sense. on that, in terms of that situation. They're just using this to benefit off of the tragic loss, because at the end of the day, the real victim is Nolan Wells, right? And so I find it very weird that they was trying to raise money so that they could get support and sympathy from the public, because they're saying they're being harassed and people are looking at them as main suspect. And it's crazy because I'm saying to myself, if you really care about Nolan Wells, you wouldn't try to raise money to garner sympathy from people. You will actually grieve the loss of your friend. And then at the same time, they didn't show up to the funeral. They did not show up to Nolan Wells' funeral. What kind of best friend is not going to show up to the funeral of someone they love? If this person was your best friend, you're going to show up to their funeral, no matter what people say, no matter what people may accuse you of. If this person meant that much to you, where you claim that they're your best friend, you're going to show up to their funeral. No ifs or buts about it. Like, if I care about this person and this person meant more to me than anything else, sometimes a best friend is more closer to you than your own brother, right? You're not. If this person was to end up losing their life, you're gonna go to their funeral. You're not gonna just leave this person and not show up and not show your respect and show your condolences to the family. You're just gonna leave them. Here's the thing that really makes me believe there's more to the story, right? And this is why I believe this so-called friend, right, of Nolan Wells, are full of shit, and they're not genuine. They're not authentic, because not only did they not show up to the funeral of Nolan Wells, they deactivated their social media accounts, and then they all lawyered up. What kind of best friend is gonna lawyer up in terms of trying to protect themselves? What sense does that make? If you lose someone that's dear to you, you're not gonna go out your way to lawyer up. You're gonna go out your way to support the family. You're gonna go out your way to advocate for this individual. You're gonna try to find the answers of what happened, because you see what happened was that they left the island, and they're saying that Nolan Wells was left behind, right? And so wherever they went, it's like they didn't show no sense of urgency, because I forgot another friend of Nolan Wells, who was black, and his mom, they were like, they actually went to go retrieve the phone from the so-called friend of Nolan Wells, and they said they were upset because these so-called friends were just chilling, and they didn't appear to be like any type of to not show any sense of urgency to go find Nolan Wells and to like see what happened to him. Because if I lose a friend like that, I'm gonna go out my way to find what happened to this person. I'm going to get all the authorities involved. And then another thing too, I want to mention: Mississippi is notorious for ruling black deaths as accidental and saying that there's no foul play involved. Now, this case has been going on for over a month now, and up to now, we haven't received anything conclusive about what's really happened to Nolan Wells. They said that the cause of death is undetermined, and the autopsy report that has been completed by the state of Mississippi, that result has not been released to the public, so people really don't know what's going on, because this medical examiner reviewed the throat, and that result it's been finalized now, but it hasn't been released to the public, so people don't know what's the state of that result. And the second autopsy, that's the independent autopsy that was done on Nolan Wells, that medical examiner is still waiting for the throat to be sent to him. And from last time I checked, that part of the throat has not been transported to the medical examiner to conduct the independent autopsy. So I'm just saying to myself, why is it there's no transparency with the state of Mississippi when it comes on to giving a detailed examination of what the autopsy results shows? It's like everything is kept hidden, and we don't really know the status of what the results are. And At this point, it's just like, oh, we're just waiting. But this is why I really believe there's some nefarious thing going on, because it's like they're not being transparent with the public, and people want to know what happened. And so that's my take on it. And I want to show you this interview, because Officer Tap Dancing Tatum, I want to call him, I'm not going to call him an officer anymore. He's an ex-officer. Brandon Tap Dancing Tatum titled his video as Nolan Wells' best friend tells truth about Nolan Wells after backlash. And then he has several parts of the video, so he broke it up in several parts, right? So he's basically milking the hell out of this Nolan Wells case and grifting out of this situation, because all the videos that he make about Nolan Wells, he has gotten hundreds of thousands of views, if not millions, and he's keep pushing out videos. So he's just milking it, and every single time he does an interview with one of his so-called best friend, he's making it appear as if they are innocent and they had nothing to do with Nolan Wells passing. And he's coming to the defense. They don't even know, without knowing the full facts, and saying, oh, I have all this receipt. I have text messages from this girl that was with like Nolan Wells at one time. And I'm like, how did he have access to all this important information? It's like, why does he know this stuff and not the attorney, the Ben Crump? Why does he know this information, and this information is not being like given over to authorities so that they could do their investigation? It just seems like there's a huge cover-up going on, man. So anyways, let me look at this video. Tell me if you guys can hear me. Is the audio good? Look at this interview.
But the world haven't had a chance yet to hear your story, to hear Nolan's story through you, through his friend. And it's not just you, it's a bunch of y'all. But you know, some of the other guys were afraid because of the threats and the violence that's
You see how you said threats and violence, but no, like there's no concrete evidence. He said threats and violence. He's already come to the defense of these white folks, these white boys, to make it seem like they're the victim, when the real victim is Nolan Wells. Like, only one person lost their life on that tragic day, and that's Nolan Wells, man. And you're making it seem like people are threatening these kids and they trying to harm them, and it's like, yeah, like you see the facial expression on him. He doesn't even seem like he's grieving. Like, if you lose somebody that's close to you, you're not gonna have this look on your face like that. He looks nonchalant, like it's just another day to him. But let's continue with the interview.
Been threatened against their lives and all of the above, but you decided that you wanted to take this bold step and give a statement.
Look at his face.
And get your side out here. And I want to start at the very beginning of all of this and
exactly,
ask you, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Who was he to you?
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college. We talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends.
This is so fake. Exactly. It looks robotic. And you said he's supposed to be the cleanup guy, but he's doing a bad job. Yeah, he's doing a bad job. Are you referring to Officer Tap Dancing Tatum? Or the friend? Because what they're using, he's like basically making it appear as if, he really cared about Nolan Wells. But you could see on his face, like you say, he don't even look like a real person. You could see on his face, there's no emotion on his face at all. Look at his face. Look at his face. Oh, you're referring to the friend? And yeah, you said it looked like he's reading off a teleprompter. I won't be surprised. I think this interview was scripted, man. I believe this interview was scripted, and they already came up with the questions ahead of time, so they know what to say, because it seemed very forced, right? Because that's why I agree with you, cause that it seems robotic. Because when you're having this interview, it's like it seems forced, and it seems like he's just saying that just to say it. But They definitely practiced what they were gonna say. Yeah, for sure. You could definitely tell that this thing was scripted. They had planned this in advance, and these questions were already planned out in advance. And Tap Dancing Tatum was already told, okay, these are the set of questions that we're gonna want you to ask, and then these are the answers we're gonna give in the interview. So they're already fully aware of what there was gonna, of what answers was gonna, question was gonna be asked, and what answers were was gonna be given. And he said, one of my hobbies is acting. I know what it looks like when someone is trying to remember the script. Exactly. You can see right through it, bro. Like it's pure acting. It's pure phony. It's fake, man. It's like when somebody is like talking about something that's real to them, that it affects them so deeply to the point where it's like their memory, they're going back into their memory of what it's like. They can't just get certain words out without choking on their words, or tears are gonna just flow through their eyes. It's like they can't even control it. And in this interview, you can see this young man has displayed absolutely zero emotion. He showed no remorse. He showed no feelings about the whole tragic loss of his so-called best friend. Yeah, they could have sent a better cleanup guy than this person. Exactly, man. But it's so bad, bro. You could see right through it.
I mean, Nolan was like a brother to me, and
yeah, he's a robot.
He walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody and say bad things about someone. You know,
he's definitely a robot, cause he's like, he speaks like a robot. He moves like one, and he acts like one. You know, he don't even seem human, bro. And you know what's the thing about it? This is why you can separate the real from the fake, bro. When somebody is being truly real about how they feel about somebody, they're not gonna speak in a certain tone, bro. You're gonna hear a different tone in their voice, like especially when they're talking about somebody that they love, that is real close to them. You're gonna hear it in their voice, bro. You're gonna hear the emotion. You're gonna feel it. But in this interview, I got no feeling from this interview, bro. I didn't get no emotion from this guy. You said, look at his eyes. He don't even look like he has life in him. He's probably the one who take him out. Yeah, I won't be surprised, bro. I think it was like, I think they jumped in, bro. I think it was a fight that it happened over this girl, because this is what I believe, right? This is only my only opinion, but this is what I actually believe. When that one friend said, "Nolan, get on the effing boat," right, and it was being mad loud and disrespectful, Nolan was trying to check him, because you know, as black men, we're not gonna tolerate disrespect. And you know, a lot of these white tea devils, they like to start shit, right? And so one of them kind of disrespected Nolan, and Nolan was checked that individual, and then a fight broke out, and then Nolan was probably getting the upper hand, and then the other white tee friend jumped in and like they were beating on him. But I think it was like either he was jumped but I know for a fact a physical altercation happened. I know this is my opinion, but this is what I believe in my heart. I believe a physical altercation happened between Nolan Wells and this so-called friend of his, and it just got out of hand, and now they try to like cover their tracks and do damage control to make it appear as if they really cared about Nolan Wells when they really didn't, because a real friend is not going to do the things that they do. You should know them by their fruits. The Bible says that, and you could. This is why I love the Word of God. I always refer back to the Scriptures. You should know him by their fruits. Let me see. Yeah, cause it would have been ugly. It would have been ugly, man. It would have been ugly, cause I know it would have been ugly. Cause I told you, this is why I don't even see. I vet people before I even trust them to get in my circle, and I don't even keep people around like that. I stay to myself, and I just develop my relationship with the Most High, because man fail, but God never fail, and people are not who they say they are, and they show a different side of themselves. Like people could appear to be very friendly when you first meet them, but as time goes on and you get to know them more, their whole different side of them show. A different side of them come up. But you see, when you listen to this interview, I'm gonna continue with the interview. You could see on his body language that there's no emotions, bro. There's like emotions. Yeah, I feel you, cuz I feel you. For some reason, they hide your comments because they view it as like offensive. But I hear what you're saying. You said I would have pew that boat up if they would have tried to jump me. It would have been some dead YT devils on that boat. He said I would have been doing time in the penitentiary before you let them jump and take you out. Yeah, I feel you, cuz I mean, this is why I don't have. This is why no one. This is why Carmelo Anthony had to do what he had to do, because he was in the process of being jumped. He actually did get jumped, but they were trying to beat up on him. The twins that were like bigger than him, stronger than him. One of the twins did like mixed martial arts or some shit, and also Carmelo Anthony suffered from epilepsy. So can you imagine if you would have sit there and took the hit from these big ass twins along with their teammates that are football players? He would have most likely would have ended up dead. So you have to do what you have to do to neutralize the threat. And now they're trying to lynch him in the legal system. They basically lynch him in the justice system. But now he's having a due process of getting a new trial, and hopefully he get a new trial and he be able to get just like they did him dirty in the court. But that's besides the point. I'm saying sometimes you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself. You see, I'd rather fight in court, live to fight another day, than having to be a victim of these folks, because they don't have any intentions of playing fair. You see, when these folks are coming after you, it's usually more than one of them, because they can't really. Most of them can't fight fairly one-on-one. They gotta jump you. This is why this whole lynching thing that's going on. You know what I'm saying? This lynching thing that's going on in Mississippi. There's like mobs of YT devils that are going around targeting like soft targets. They're going after single black people because they can't go after a group of them because they know they're gonna get some pushback. So they're going after single individuals that are black because they're easy target. They're easy to go after those individuals. And that's what I'm saying. When you in a state like that, that's a deep state like Mississippi, and then you're a black person, you gotta be ready for anything. You gotta prepare for anything because you don't know when you may need to protect yourself. And then when that situation comes, you gotta handle it. You gotta deal with it. And even if you gotta take out a couple of them, do so. And at least if they're gonna lock you up, and they're gonna probably charge you with first-degree M, even though you may be defending yourself, at least you get to fight another day, because what's going on in Mississippi is egregious with all these lynchings going on with young black men and women, and they're found in trees, and they hung in trees like so high. You know that a black person don't do that stuff. Yeah, man, it would have been ugly, cuz I know it would have been ugly, cuz this is why I know you say you'll never go nowhere where there's a bunch of white folks because of things like that. It would have been ugly. See, Nolan Wells didn't have no. I don't know if he had a brother I don't think he had any siblings or anybody that's willing to crash out for him, because I'll be honest with you. In certain situations, if it involves like a loved one that has like a ride or die type of sibling, this situation would have been totally different, man. You would have seen some other stuff come out the news where these so-called white friends of Nolan Wells end up getting pressed and end up getting seriously harmed. Or like I said, I don't advocate for violence, but certain times things happen, and for every action there's a reaction. For every cause, there's an effect. So if you do something to someone that if you harm somebody loved ones, don't be surprised when that person comes back and come at you harder. But let's go back on with this interview because this is crazy.
There's a lot of people that talk crap nowadays, and Nolan was never that person. Sweetest soul ever, and I mean, I had a great relationship with Nolan. I've never gotten in an argument with Nolan. We were super close.
He said there would have been 6 dead. Boom, bye, bye. On that boat, yeah, man. I know it would have been ugly, cause I know you would have went off on these white tea devils, man. I know you would have went off. You would have crashed out all the way on these white tea devils. But that's why I said, man, they know who to play with, bro. And I think in the state of Mississippi, the reason why these racist white mobs are going after, they continue with what they're doing is because, honestly, I don't believe black people is putting the fear of God in these folks. Because honestly, I don't, like I said, I don't advocate for violence. I don't believe violence is the answer, but I believe sometimes something's got to give. And when you see these patterns, it's like you got to be prepared for what's to come. Like, you got to be ready for war. You got to be ready, man. And I think black people are not militant enough, bro. We are too trusting of outsiders. I'm not saying every single person is like this, but as a collective, our people are too trusting of outsiders. And there's another thing too. I don't understand why we as people are so trusting of white tea folks. Like, when they say something, we take their word as truth. And bringing up this, going back to Nancy Grace, she's saying stuff that a lot of black content creators have already said, and people are hyping her up and they're saying like she's invited, like they treating her like she's like the spokeswoman for black issues. And these are the same woman that was dogging out Carmelo Anthony and said Carmelo Anthony should be locked up for life in prison. And I think she said he should get the death penalty too, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but I think she did say something along the lines like she was dogging the hell out of Carmelo Anthony, even though Carmelo Anthony justifiably defended himself, and they basically railroaded him in court and make it, and then they charge him with a first degree when it's not premeditated. Man, I'm telling you, bro, when it comes down to black people getting justice, we do not have any rights in this country. The system was designed to keep us under oppression, and it's designed to not let us benefit from the system. Like, we end up getting the short end of the stick. And this is why black people can never be racist, because we don't stand to benefit from the system. We don't stand to benefit from the laws and the structure that the system has built to keep our people under subjection. So we don't benefit from nothing when it comes down to us getting justice, because if racism was a thing for black people, there would be justice across the board. Now you see all these cases of black men and women that are young, in their prime years, that are suspiciously found hanged in a tree. We're not gonna say mysteriously, because they say, oh, mysteriously, like we don't know what's going on. This is one reason why I hate social media and I hate the news, because they use certain language that kind of like make it seem like we don't know what's going on. Like, oh, we don't think that there's something suspicious going on. Come on, there's a clear pattern going on with these young black men and women that are found lynched, and they use these terms like mysteriously found lynched, and I'm like, no, it's not mysterious, it's suspicious. Suspiciously, we know there's something suspicious, there's something nefarious going on, because every single time we find these cases, they always rule it as no foul play. No foul play. They don't do no thorough investigation. They don't review the cameras. They don't ask questions. They don't look at the next door neighbor and see if they see any suspicious activity that was taking place on that day when this person was found unalived, right? So they basically downplay everything as like mysterious. But anyways, that's basically what's going on with with the state of Mississippi. They have it's just crazy, man. It's very infuriating to think about it because it really does make me very upset because it's like nothing is being done about this, bro. You see how much they stall in this, even the case, even the situation surrounding Nolan Wells case, right? The medical examiner took so long, right? That did the medical examiner that conducted the initial autopsy on Nolan Wells, she took so long to examine the throat, and in fact, had the throat, and the independent autopsy that was done by the medical examiner outside of the state of Mississippi, he couldn't do a full autopsy report on Nolan Wells because the throat was missing, and this medical examiner took so long to get the results on the throat, and she actually hasn't released it to the public. I think now that this it's up to the jury if they want to indict these friends, these so-called friends of Nolan Wells with any type of charge. But from what I've read, the medical examiner that's conducting the independent autopsy is still waiting for the throat, so he still haven't received it yet. So he can't really conclusively say what's going on because this same medical examiner that is in the state of Mississippi has been notoriously known for ruling out every single black deaths that are suspicious as no foul play involved. She ruled every single one of them as no foul play involved. So it really is upsetting to me, and it makes me realize that the state of Mississippi are not going to do anything about this case. I think this is going to fall on deaf ears. They just try to prolong this case because they know they have a lot of eyes on this case. There's a lot of people talking about this case, not just in the United States but all across the world. And Mississippi don't like the attention to be on them because they've been notoriously known for lynching our people, man. They have killed. They said they had a concentration camp in the state of Mississippi that was responsible for killing about 20,000 black people, and they weren't held accountable for any of these black souls that were tragically taken away. And they've done all these lynchings, and you've seen the photos of these white T devils like smiling on the picture with a black person hanging off the tree. I said to myself, Heavenly Father, give enact justice for my people, because my people have suffered long enough, and the state of Mississippi has to pay. They got blood on their hands for what they do, for what they have done to my people, for what the atrocities, the lynchings, the killings, all the evil stuff they've done to black folks, man. And I'm not going to stop talking about it until these people get held accountable and something be done about these lynchings that's going on in the state of Mississippi. And on top of that, I want black people to start thinking militant, man. I'm tired of our people being too docile. I'm tired of my people being too friendly and being too accepting of outsiders. It's time for my people to start getting ready for war, bro. To be militant, be armed, be ready, be prepared for war. Because these racist mobs that are going out there, they're going after people that are easy targets. And see, they're like, oh, this person is not going to defend themselves. Typically, black people don't bear arms, right? So, like, especially in the state of Mississippi, they're like, oh, we could just go out there and eliminate one of these folks, and nothing's gonna be done about it because the cops are automatically gonna say there is no foul play involved, and they're gonna also say this person death is self-inflicted. So at the end of the day, black people are gonna start thinking differently. Our mind gotta be prepared and ready for war. And I'm just saying, mainly for those sundown town states, like mainly in the state of Mississippi. I think Mississippi, Texas, Arkansas, like those states and stuff like that. North Carolina. I heard that recently a black man was found lynched in the state of North Carolina like 2 months ago. So things like that, black people, they gotta think differently, man. That's a weakness in our community. Like, I would say one thing about black folks that we need to get better at is be more militant. Because the mobsters, them racist white mobsters that are going out there committing these lynchings, because there's no way in hell it's only done by one white person, bro. There's no way these lynchings is done by one white person. Josh Skillful said there's a lot of sundown towns in the Midwest too. In fact, more so there than in the South. It varies, bro, it varies. There is a lot of sundown towns in the Midwest, and I do agree. But in the deep southern states, there are far more like lynchings and all this stuff going on. Like in the state of Mississippi, they like just this year alone, it's like at least 10 lynchings that I could think of that has happened. At least, so it could be anywhere from 10 to, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's crazy. So there's other states too. I think in the state of Georgia, there was a black person that was found lynched too. Arkansas, like Colorado, and all the places. But the main ones are like Mississippi, Arkansas, like those southern states and deep southern states, and like other places too, but not so much. But Mississippi is the main one. Mississippi is notoriously known for doing this stuff. This has been something that they've been doing for years. So what I'm saying, for people living in these deep southern states, these sundown town areas, black people need to be more militant. Like I said, we're too one thing about us as people, we're too accepting of outsiders. And then we also believe these people are our friends, and that we, like, don't get me wrong, there's good people in every race, and then also in the right race. There's people that's speaking out against this lynching that's going on that are white. So I don't have anything against those folks. I'm talking about the racist folks that are out here doing these things. We gotta start thinking more like military, like we're in the military. We gotta be armed and ready and suited and booted up, ready for war. Because when you don't have your protection, when you don't have the armor of God, because God, I believe God also give us the wisdom and the knowledge to understand that we also gotta have a physical armor too. You can't have somebody invade your personal space and do harm to you. And this is why I'm saying black folks gotta start thinking differently, man. Because this life video I reported about, I'm tired of showing this guy. But let's see. If you guys, I will play just a few more of this. But there's this guy. What's about? I'm gonna talk about this one. I'll turn on the camera real quick because I'm trying to find this video. This lynching that happened. What's his name? Mississippi. This young black man. Yeah, I talk about I'm butchering her name, but Tasaya Fortune and the other black man that was found lynched in the state of Mississippi. It's absolutely sickening, bro. That this stuff has been going on for so long. Listen to this. KKK mob kills 3 civil rights workers, right? And the FBI did nothing about it. Look at this. I mean, they did nothing about it. They got away with it. Watch this video.
Mississippian says
this is like a whole hour. I will just play like a little bit of it.
Philadelphia, Mississippi, 1964. A sleepy southern town steeped in tradition finds itself targeted for invasion. Across the South, a legacy of racial hatred is about to be challenged, but not without a fight. Before it would end, 3 civil rights workers would vanish, drawing the eyes of the world to the quiet community.
Let's skip this.
South, but a touchdown in Philadelphia, Mississippi. I'm Jim Calstrom, former director of the FBI's New York office. The disappearance of 3 civil rights workers drew the attention of the nation to the small southern town. Named for the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia was not living up to its namesake. For in it, brotherhood was divided by race, and the city was ruled by men hiding behind hooded sheets. To solve the mystery of the missing workers, the FBI had to infiltrate and expose the Klan's invisible empire.
Mississippi, circa 1960. The people here were like folks anywhere else, proud of their towns, steadfast in their beliefs, and resistant to change. But change was in the wind, and that wind was blowing relentlessly upon them from the north. In the summer of 1964, 1,000 students from northern universities prepared to go to Mississippi to teach Southern blacks about their voting rights as full citizens of this country. President Johnson was to sign the Civil Rights Bill in July. In a naive sense, it was to be the beginning of the end of black oppression. But generations of hatred cannot be diminished by simple legislation. The student action was spearheaded by COFO, the Council of Federated Organizations. It was an umbrella group that united an alphabet soup of organizations intent on winning civil rights for blacks. The mission was called the Summer Project. According to Joe Sullivan, an FBI agent at the time, that's not how the locals referred to it.
It was labeled very quickly by the Mississippians as the summer invasion of Mississippi, which was forthcoming, and they were looking forward to it rather unhappily. So that was the genesis of the problem.
As the invasion grew nearer, citizens steeled themselves against it. By day, life went on as it always had, and people whispered of the unpleasantness to come. But when the night fell, words turned to action, and the Ku Klux Klan, the invisible empire, began to stir. It wouldn't stay invisible for long. Civil rights workers training in Ohio knew their efforts would be countered by violence.
I see a comment. You said Mississippi is one state that gives you the icks to even think of driving through. Oh man, yeah, I would never go to the state of Mississippi, and if I do, I'm gonna be armed to the T, bro. I'm gonna have AK. Well, I don't want to say what I'm gonna say online, but just know I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready for anything, and I probably most likely I won't even be by myself. I probably, like for instance, I'll get my cuz to tag along with me. I'm gonna make sure I have a group of people with me, and they're gonna be armed and ready to the T, bro. Because we're not going to no place like this and not be prepared for anything. You see, God give us not like wisdom. Like you could say, you know, no weapon that's formed against me shall prosper. I believe in that scripture wholeheartedly, and that's speaking about spiritual warfare. But also, God give us common sense, and it's like you gotta also protect yourself against threat that's coming, that's trying to harm you physically. So if I'm going to the state of Mississippi, best believe I'm going to be armed and ready for anything. Even though I wouldn't feel, there'll be no reason or incentive for me to go into the state of Mississippi. But do you like drive trucks or anything? Because my cousin does the same thing. But you said, do you drive trucks like from state to state? But like one thing I said, Mississippi is one of them deep southern states, bro. That yeah, if you driving trucks through the state of, like if you drive truck for a living and you go from state to state and you have to go to the state of Mississippi, just be ready for anything, man, because you just don't know what could happen. But let's continue.
But they had no idea how far it would go or how fast it would escalate. For COFO, Mississippi, with its long history of segregation and rabid racial hatred, was the hardest target for change and the biggest prize. Bob Moses was one of the...
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You said I used to drive trucks briefly for a few months, but I stopped because it was too stressful. Yeah, my cousin could relate to that. He could definitely vouch for that. Where he was driving trucks from state to state, he said it was too much, you know. And like, I don't want to speak for him, but he could relate to that for sure. So you say you quit because it was too much for handle. I know that's the type of job that requires a lot of energy, a lot of focus. It's not meant for the weak, and that's why I have a lot of respect for truck drivers, because they keep everything going. Without truck drivers, society will collapse. You won't have no food in the grocery stores. You won't have any essential items that people need in order to survive. So truck drivers are really the backbone of society, man. and this is why I have respect for those people. And I, like I said, if you're a black man that's a truck driver, and you're traveling all these different states, man, a lot of these sundown town states, because I be hearing stories happen with truck drivers too, with black truck drivers end up, you know, they always use the word mysteriously dying. I hate that word because it's like when they use that word mysterious, it's like they downplaying the situation. It's not mysterious, bro. And this person, yeah, see, you see that, Josh Skillful. You know, I know you. We go way back. This is my cousin. T, the teacher, is my cousin. He's my real blood cousin. And he said, yeah, facts. I know all about the stress of driving trucks, so he could relate to that. So, you know, you guys share something in common. But he knows exactly how stressful it is. But you know, I've heard these stories too of black truck drivers that end up suspiciously dying in these southern towns, like places, like they end up getting shot to death or some stuff like that. So I'll say, man, you gotta be on your A game. You gotta be prepared. If you're a truck driver driving, that's one thing I would never do. Because that's the reason why I wouldn't do something like that. Because every state have their own laws and stuff like that. So you have to be mindful of that. In certain places, they don't have an open carry state, and other places you gotta have certain licenses to carry. And it's just a whole bunch of mess. So it's like, but I'd rather be prepared than not be prepared. I think you could still carry. You just don't have to show it. You don't have to let them. If you get pulled over by the police, which doesn't really happen too often, this rarely happens. You don't have to say, "Oh, you carry." Like, if there's nothing that you did, any crime, there's no suspicious activity. They don't have to. You don't have to tell them your whole business. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's better to be armed than to not be armed, because I think a lot of stuff going on with these stuff too. But anyways, let's go back to the video. Let's go back to this video. But that also is the reason why, you know, a lot of black truck drivers are very cautious when, you know, driving through these sundown towns.
Summer project organizers.
Mississippi is targeted in every black person's mind as the symbol of racism. And so as we mount our campaign down there, the question is in our minds, well, you can do all you want. You can pass a civil rights bill if you want to, and you can do this and that, but unless you have actual change in Mississippi, it's not going to really get rid of this infection, because Mississippi is the place where they brew it.
Hey, cuz, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but my friend, we go way back, he responded to you and said, tell me about it, bro. He said, nice to meet you. And you were my cousin. But yeah, he's my blood cousin. And yeah, bro. Like, it's crazy to me that, you know, you meet people sometimes, you're like, if you're allowing, oh, you still in the comment? Yeah, so you see his comment then, okay. You see his comment, cool. Because I seen only one person, so I don't know if it was him or you that was in the live chat. It says only one person that's watching the live stream. But I think his stream he go in and out sometimes. So I think he's still in the live stream, but sometimes he go in and out. But yeah, I'll continue playing this video because this is some real life. This is some real history, bro. And we gotta know about the past. You see, what they want us to do is forget about the past. They want to do this thing called get rid of critical thinking, critical race theory, because they're like, oh, it's why do we got to talk about the things that happened in the past? That has nothing to do with the future. It has nothing to do with what's going on right now. And you see, it's crazy because what's going on is that there's a saying, right, that those who do not learn from their past are destined to repeat it. So it's like, if you do not learn about the things that happened in the past, and you don't go back to remember the things that happened in the past, it's a chance that's going to happen again. And Mississippi is a perfect example. They want people to forget about the past and be like, why are you looking at what happened back in the days, and why should you look at that? But it's like the history is repeating itself again, because you still have these KKK racist groups out here, these mob groups that are going out there lynching black folks, and nothing's being done about it. Everything gets swept under the rug, and they're ruling it as, oh, no foul play is involved, no foul play involved. And by the way, John Skillful, I don't know if you're still in the chat, because I know sometimes you say sometimes your server gives you problems and you go in and out. But my cousin responded to you. He said, "What's up?" But yeah, man, you guys share something common. Both drive trucks, and yeah, I didn't know if I told you this before, cuz, but Josh Skillful is like a day one friend of mine. Like we go way back, like way back, and we used to make a lot of red pill content and also black pill stuff. So like talk about female nature and the dating scenes and stuff like that. But also any other topics. Like he always been there supporting me, like always there rocking me. But like I know he got his own thing going on, so I know life could get busy at times. But like he's a day one friend of mine. And like when he was telling me about the truck driving thing, he did that for a while too. He used to drive just like what he was doing, driving. I think he drove those big truck, from state to state. But correct me if I'm wrong, Josh Skillful. But he drove big truck, and he was doing that for a minute too, going from state to state. But yeah, it's crazy. So you guys could chop it up a little bit in the chat. But yeah, he's a day one friend of mine. So I'm gonna continue with this video.
Months before the students were expected in Mississippi, 24-year-old Michael Schwerner moved from New York to Meridian, Mississippi to establish a base of operations. Schwerner had approached Mount Zion Methodist Church in the nearby black community of Longwood for permission to use their space for COFO meetings.
And we have got to stop it now. Nip it in the bud. That's what we've got to do.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
The residents of Longwood
so I was
peacefully
right.
coexisted with their white neighbors.
Yeah, I was right. Okay, so you was driving the 53 feet tractor trailers, bro. Man, I don't know how you do it, bro. Props to you, man. So you do have your CDL license, I'm guessing, right? Because you have to have that in order to drive those big trucks. So I believe you do have that. So it's good though. You have experience doing that, man. So you pretty much have that resume on down pack. So if there's a job that's available in your state to drive trucks, you could do that too, because you have more than enough experience to do it. So that's pretty cool, bro. That's dope.
Neighbors found themselves at a crossroads.
How do we help?
The church board had to weigh the benefits to the cause of civil rights against concern for their own personal safety.
This is crazy, bro.
When the meeting was adjourned, they hadn't come to an agreement. But the Klan made the decision for
You see how they attack? They attack in groups because they're cowards, bro. They will never fight a black person one-on-one. So when you hear about these lynchings that's going on in the state of Mississippi, and just recently that happened in the state of North Carolina, just know that it's not one person that's doing this. It's a mob of white racist devils that are going out there targeting black people that are by themselves, or maybe they're in a group of 2 or 3, but they know these people are not protected. They don't have any guns, they don't have any weapons, so they just run up on them and catch them off guard. And this is what they do, man. They've been doing this for a while now, and I gotta keep bringing this point home, that those who do not learn from the past are destined to repeat it. You said you're from New York City, and I'm actually thinking about getting a job with MTA. Oh, I didn't know you was from New York City, bro. Cause I thought you lived in the Midwest or Dallas. The whole time I didn't know you was from New York City. Maybe you did told me this, but it's been a while since we kind of chop it up. But that's pretty cool, bro. I hope you do get a job working for the MTA, man. What kind of job you do right now? And if you do get the MTA job, bro, that would be good. That would be good for you, bro. Cause I heard they pay really well and they give a lot of good benefits. But man, you have my full support, bro. And best of luck to you, man, with getting with that job, with applying for that job. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes I lose for words, but I hope you get it, bro. But let's look at this. Look at these mobsters, bro. This is why I'm very, like, I gotta bring this stuff back into light, because they trying to get rid of this stuff. This critical race theory. They trying to basically not allow history teachers to talk about these things that happened in the past, like slavery, because they're like, oh, why do we have to bring up slavery? That has nothing to do with what's going on right now. And it's like, it's not good to live in the past, but it's like, we got to remember these things. You said right now I'm working for Access a Ride as a patron transit driver, and thanks for the well wishes. I appreciate it. That's what's up, brother. And I wish you the best of everything, bro. As you know, like I was talking to you before, when I was working at the lab, I'm pretty much like I'm not working no more. Like, in terms of like I could go back into the workforce, but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur now. Like I do my own thing, you know, I make my own money. But I sometimes feel like I want to go back into doing work because I don't like get back into the flow because I'm a person that like to stay busy and I like to challenge myself. So I might do part time, but I'm thinking about it. I'm just waiting to see what to do moving forward. But I'm trying new things anyways, you know. But it's good to take risks. And one thing I'm very proud of is be able to pay off my student loans because I owed about 100,000 something, like a little bit under 100,000 or close to it, or a little bit over it. I don't like something around that ballpark, and be able to pay off all my debt kind of like freed me up to kind of like use the money that I make to invest it into the things that I enjoy doing to make more money. But that's besides the point. I don't want to go off topic. I just want to address this. Look at this video, man.
Several church members, including women, were badly beaten.
Look at them assaulting women and children, bro. I mean, women. Look, they set the whole thing to fire. Look at these white devils. Look at these evil things. Look at the evil things they did to my people, bro. They set the whole church on fire, man, and they assaulted black women. These people didn't do anything to these whitey devils, bro. They didn't do anything to deserve this, and look what they did. Look what they did. Look what they did.
Mount Zion Church was burned to the ground.
Look at this. Arsony.
Though the fire was never investigated by local authorities, the FBI opened a file on the incident.
FBI, ma'am.
They were keeping a record of possible federal law violations which fell under their domain. They knew that once the students arrived, the summer promised to be long and hot. The FBI called the file Mississippi Burning, or My Burn. They conducted their own investigation, asking church members what they saw that night. Though the Klan members had obscured their faces, witnesses recalled seeing a man in a truck wearing a sheriff's hat, suggesting that local law enforcement was involved. It wasn't surprising. Many in the South resented the federal government's intrusive push for integration.
But see, this is why it's important to learn from the history, because in this video it says the law enforcement was involved with this, you know, this mob attack that happened at this church. And so you can look at history and see there's a pattern going on. When you hear all these, you know, these recent events of black people being lynched, what do they usually say? What do the law enforcement usually say? Oh, there's no foul play involved. No further investigation is needed to be done, which makes me believe there's a direct link between the KKK and law enforcement, and they're heavily embedded with each other. Like they have close tie with each other. So law enforcement is directly involved with KKK. There's like they have a strong connection. And so when these racist mob go out there and do these killings, when they're lynching black people, the law enforcement is not going to do their due diligence to persecute these individuals that are responsible, because they're involved with they have ties with the KKK. So when you look at history, you can see a pattern. You can say, okay, I see now. I see what's going on. This is why it's important to remember the past, bro. Because if you don't remember the past, you're destined to repeat it. And it's like they want us to forget about the past. They want to take this stuff out of the classroom. They don't want teachers to talk about this stuff. But we need to remember, because look at the stuff that our black people went through. Look at the evil things these people have done to our folks. Innocent black people that are in church, they haven't committed any crime. They mind their own business. These racist white devils went in and burned the whole church down and beat and assaulted women and men in the church for no reason.
Local law enforcement often work to maintain the racial status quo.
The mood is defiance of the federal government. So you're going to defy any attempt by the federal government to change this. They're viewed as the enemy. right? So it's not just the black people are the enemy, the federal government is also the enemy.
Jim Ingram, now the commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety, was an FBI agent in Jackson in the 60s. Back then, it was a thankless job.
But we travel the state. We might be in Natchez, we might be in Philadelphia, we might be in Hattiesburg, working violent crimes committed against citizens of Mississippi. Therefore, we were away from our homes, and we would receive threats.
By the way, Joskip, I don't know if I responded to your comment that you said, thanks for the wishes. I appreciate it. I just want to say you're welcome, and just know that I wish you. I'm there to support you because I want to see my brothers win, bro. Because too often, the system want to see us fail, and society is designed for us to fail. And when we really try to work towards success, you got so much different hurdles and so much different things that's coming your way. I break through that mold. I don't let society dictate to me who I am and how successful I can be. I know what I'm capable of, and this is why you got to believe in yourself and not care what people say, because they will look at you as like a failure. Society, right? In the systemic society, racism, they don't see black people as equal to them. They see them as inferior. And so they're like, oh, you can be successful. You can do this. I don't let people place limit on me. I know what I can do. And this is why I work extra hard. And I'm so happy that I didn't listen to not just, the predominant white society, because they create system in place, they create laws and certain things in place to feel like you can't make it. But I just know and trust in God that God has everything planned out for me. And look what I am. I'm able to pay off all my student loans. I'm debt free. And it didn't take me that long to pay off all my student loans. About a year or two, I paid everything off in full. And I was able to, live on my own terms. And I have enough where I can afford to buy a new house if I want to. I could buy a car. I could do so many things with my life. I have the freedom to do so. But you see, when people see you as black, especially these white folks, not all of them, but a lot of them see you as the N-word, right? And they're like, oh, you're just a subhuman. Because you know that they actually said in this racist society, they don't, like back in the slavery days, they said black people not fully human. They're like 3/4, and it's crazy to me because these people resemble more like apes than we do. They got physical features that resemble more like apes. But they say we are monkeys, but they look more like them. Like you create and you know that black people are the only humans on earth that are 100% human. We don't have no other thing in our DNA. We don't got no Neanderthal DNA like these white folks do. These people that used to live in caves, they have the Neanderthal DNA. That's an alien DNA species. That's why I say sometimes it feels like these folks are not even humans. Because think about it, right? You have to be like you gotta be like, 1 second, bro. I gotta turn up this camera a little bit because I gotta rest my hand a little bit. You gotta be an actual devil to go out your way to harm a group of people that hasn't done anything to you, that are minding their business, that are trying to live life righteously. You gotta be you gotta be some other species. You can't even call yourself a human at this point. The fact that these racist mobs went out their way to burn this church and insult the woman and the man at this church and literally threaten the lives of all these people, you cannot even use the term human. They're a different species, bro. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's continue with this video because we gotta understand this is not a one-time thing. This is what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that these cases of black men and women that are found lynched are like isolated incidences. These are not isolated incidences. This is a systemic thing that has been embedded, deeply rooted in the racist, white supremacist system of not just Mississippi, but across the nation. But especially in the state of Mississippi, this is a systemic thing that's been going on for ages. So you could see that this is not a one-time thing. It's not an isolated incident. This is something that's been going on for generation and generation. And so when you know about the past, you know how to be better prepared. You can see there's a pattern involved. And listen, a lot of these racist KKK groups that went out and committed these acts of killings, they end up having kids. And what they do when they have kids, right? They teach those same racist ideologies to their kids and pass down the same poison to their kids, and they pass it on to their kids. So the generation of racist mob groups that are going out here killing and committing these acts of crime against young black men and women, they have these ideas that have been passed down to them from their grandparents and their great grandparents, you know. So this is not something that they develop overnight. This is something that has been taught to them for ages, right? So when you understand the history, you can see that, okay, this is not something that's just happening one time. It's been going on for a while, and you should feel angry about it. Because I'm like, you should feel I'm angry about it, and I believe we as people gotta be at this point where we say enough is enough, and we're tired of our people taking this down. And I'm saying, like, we should ever feel guilty because we are not at fault, but there comes a time where you gotta fight fire with fire. You gotta fight fire with fire, man. You gotta give people a taste of their own medicine. It's like, I feel like people don't really respect you until you put the fear of God in them. And it's like, cause they're like, oh, this is what I think. I might be wrong, but these folks feel emboldened to go out there and lynch these black individuals, right? But it's like, oh man, black people are too divided. They're not gonna come together as one, and they're not going to burn the whole state of Mississippi down. You know, they're just gonna go about their lives and continue like nothing happened. And they probably don't feel threatened because, you know, I guarantee you these racist white mobs won't go after Asians. They won't do the same thing that they're doing to us to Asians. Because you know what is gonna happen if they try to start lynching, as they start lynching Asians? It doesn't matter which country they're from. They could be from Vietnamese, they could be from Japan, they could be from China, Korea, Singapore. Like, it doesn't matter. If they lynch one of the Asians, all Asians are gonna come together as one. Tell me if I'm lying. Tell me if I'm lying. If they try to lynch Asians, let's say they start doing this to Asians, right? All Asians from all ethnic group, they're gonna all come together collectively to address the issue. But for some reason, black folks, we're too divided as people. It's like, you may... Okay, I see. You see what I'm saying, cuz? Because Asian people were able to pass a hate crime bill. Remember, you know, this stuff that was going on with Asians getting assaulted and being attacked by random people, and they all came together as a group to pass a hate crime bill. So can you imagine if this was happening to Asians, that Asians were being lynched in such a drastic way, right? And in vast numbers. Asians from all ethnic groups, no matter what country they come from, no matter what language they speak, no matter what culture they practice, no matter what religions they believe in, they're all going to collectively come together as a group to address the issue and attack it at its source. But for some reason, black folks, even though we're the main target of these lynchings, we are too divided. We just can never come together as a group to, like, collectively attack the issue at hand. And I guarantee you, if this would happen in state, like, let's replace the black people that are being lynched with Asians, right? You know what will happen? You will have Asians from all different states that will all come together and march in the state of Mississippi. They will literally keep the whole state of Mississippi will be on lockdown, because Asians will not go for it. They're not gonna let their people get lynched in mass numbers like that and take it lightly. They're gonna start. Remember, I don't know if you guys know the situation that happened in California when that black woman got unalived by that Asian store owner, and black people were like literally revolting. They were like burning the whole city down, right? And some of the Asians, they're like, yo, we had nothing to do with this. They were standing on the rooftop with their guns out. And I said to myself, this is the type of mindset we need to have. Whereas like black folks need to be out there in the state of Mississippi marching in mass numbers with their guns out, and we're gonna be like, we ain't going nowhere. We're gonna stand for what's right, and we're ready for war, bro. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to incite anything like a race war or anything like that, but sometimes it takes drastic measures for things like that to happen, for people to like respect us. Because I'm telling you though, I honestly don't think these people respect us. They think that we're just easy targets. They don't feel threatened by us. That's why they're able to continue to do what they're doing, because they're like, yeah, we could lynch one black person, and you know, they're gonna be a few of them black folks that's gonna be upset of. They're gonna try to galvanize the truth. But black people are so divided, right? And we got too much Sambos and sellouts in our community, like Brandon Tap Dancing Tatum, that will sell out the community and like, you know, dog out his own people. So we got too much division amongst our own kind. You don't have no other I can't think of any Asian YouTuber that disparages his own people. Like I don't think of any other race besides black folks, like Brandon Tap Dancing Tatum, Ringo TV Raw, or Ringo TV Reaction. It's like when it comes on to our people who get injustice, you got too much sellouts in our community that will literally dog out their own people. And then when it comes on to us to coming together and galvanize the truth, we're so divided that the truth basically, it doesn't come together. The Black Panthers were infiltrated by the FBI. That's the last time where I could think of like where black people have like came together as one to attack like an issue at the source. But they basically destroyed the Black Panther. But there's still Black Panthers around, but they're not as strong as they was back in the days, right? So I'm thinking about it. It's like we're too divided. We're too isolated as people. A lot of people want to be by themselves. They don't want to. But I'm not saying you don't have to be cool with everybody. But when it comes down to us fighting for one cause, this is when it matters for us to come together. Because I'm telling you, if something was to happen, like let's replace black folks that are being lynched in the state of Mississippi with Asians. Bro, Asians are, like I said, they're going to come from every single different state. They're going to all come together. They're all going to plan an event where they're marching in the state of Mississippi. And Asians that are living in the state of Mississippi are going to be armed. Every single one of them are going to have guns. Every single one of them. They're going to think collectively as a group. They're not going to think as an individual. They're going to come together as a group. But this is the problem with our community. We're too divided and we're not militant enough. But they can't try no other ethnic group. Let them try with the Asians. It's over. It's a wrap. They're gonna nip that shit in the bud immediately, bro. If Asians, right, by chance, listen, I don't want any group to be lynched. This is the fact that I'm even talking about this is insane, right? Because this should not be happening in the first place. But let's say Asians, Arabs, Muslims. Oh my God, bro. They, you know. As much as I one thing I would say about Muslims, right? They may be radical, right? They may be a little bit of extreme side, but one thing these you never hear about them white racist mob coming after the Muslims, bro, because they know they if they F around they're gonna find out, because then they go after one of them Arabs ninjas, and they start look. Imagine, cause what will happen if these KKK groups start lynching Muslims, bro? Muslims, you know how bad it's gonna be. That Muslim gonna come. Oh my God, it's gonna be a national security. The whole state of Mississippi is gonna be threatened by terroristic. I don't want to say certain things that I want to say, bro, but they know who to play with, bro. They know who to play with. They think we're soft, bro. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest, bro. I don't see them trying this thing with Muslims, with Arabs, with Asians, because they know those people don't play games. They're gonna come together as a group and they're gonna attack the issue at its source. They know one thing. They could say anything they want about Muslims, bro. They could say, oh, they're terrorists and they do this and do that. But one thing they do, they respect them though. They respect those group of people. Because if they was trying to, imagine if they start lynching, oh my God, the state of Mississippi would be on lockdown because they would have had so many cases of these folks going up in that state that's Muslim, and that's the extremists, those ones. They're gonna be, you already know what's gonna happen. The governor is gonna be the governor is gonna have to go in hiding. The district attorney is gonna have to go in hiding. The sheriffs, the police, they're all gonna go because they know it's gonna be war. It's gonna be war. So they know who to play with, bro. I'm telling you, man. They know who to try with. I'm not, like I said, I'm not advocating for violence, but I'm just saying, these people know who to play with. They respect Muslims. You don't see them lynching Muslims. You don't see them lynching any other ethnic group. Arabs, Asians, bro, they're not trying that with no other group except for us because they know we're too divided as people. And we have soldiers, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we don't have soldiers now, but the issue is the system of white supremacy has created laws that oppress us, right, as people, and keep us people in prison for a longer time. So you may have some solid soldiers, but they're locked up, or even if they're not locked up, they gotta walk on eggshell. But like the soldiers that we still got soldiers that are out there, but they can't galvanize the truth because we're too divided as people. Whenever a black leader try to rise up and try to form a coalition of folks like black folks that come together and try to fight against this system that is oppressing us, like if it was a black person that come out that's a leader, right, trying to galvanize the truth, and let's go to the state of Mississippi. We're gonna hold these people accountable, right? They're gonna have the black folks they're gonna be like selling them out, trying to basically tarnish and sabotage everything that they set up. But you don't see that in any other ethnic group. If Asians come together, they're all on the same page. They're all on one accord. You see, it doesn't matter what country the Asian is from. They could be from China. They could be from They could be from Vietnamese. Yo, it could be any other. It doesn't matter what other countries they're from. They could speak a whole different language. They all agree on one thing. We're gonna come together to attack this issue at hand. But you see, black folks, I think this whole turn the other cheek is really to our own detriment, because I understand God give us, God doesn't want us to hold any hate in our heart towards others. But it's like when justice needs to be done, it has to be done in a way to make a point so that people can leave you the F alone. So that people can say, you know what, we don't want to mess with those people. You know for a fact these racist mobs are not gonna go after Arabs. They're like, yo, we don't want no smoke with them folks, because them dudes are willing to carry BOMB put on their body and run up and blow up the whole freaking building. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, we don't want no smoke with them folks, because if we start lynching them people, it's gonna be hell to pay. Yo, they know who to play with, man. Oh man, bro, they know who to try with, man. I'm not saying my people is soft. Don't get it twisted. We got some solid soldiers. We got soldiers in our race. Some solid soldiers, but we don't have enough. That's the thing. That's the problem. We don't have enough. We're too divided as people, bro. People are all to themselves, and we got too many sellouts in our community. When you got people like Brandon Tap Dancing Tatum, that's like always undermining the black community and always have something negative to say, and he's advocating for a group of people that don't care about him. And you got Ringo TV that's doing the same thing. Then you got other people out here like Anton Daniels, just a bunch of sellouts, bro. It's like of all race, we're the only one that do this shit. It's like when it comes on for us to people to agree, we could never. When it comes on to us to come together, we could never agree on one topic, bro. There's so much inner fighting going on. There's too much egos. There's like one person is arguing about this and one person is arguing about that, and it's like we cannot respect each other enough to be like, you know what? We may not agree on everything, but one thing we can agree on is that we got to put a stop to this lynching that's going on in the state of Mississippi. Not, other states too, but mainly, the state of Mississippi. And we got to address this at the source, bro. We got to start galvanizing the truth. And we're going to go and march and burn. We're not going to like literally burn the whole thing down, but we're going to make a statement to the point where it's like, we're not to be F with. But these people are going to continue to do it because they feel like we're soft as individuals, not as collective. If we come together as collective, we are very strong. Like when black people do decide to come together as collectively as they should, we are forced to be reckoned with. That's why they did all the stuff they did in the past, because they feel threatened of our progress and what we're capable of. That's why they burn down churches. That's why they burn down towns and cities that black people has built up from scratch without any handouts from the government. We didn't get any handouts back in the day, and we still did it on our own merit. So let's go back to this video. We're going to continue. But I want to make that statement clear, bro. They ain't going to try that with them Arabs, because they know them dudes, they gonna... them dudes are, you know what? I can't even say the word because, YouTube will put a strike on my channel, but they are SUICIDER BOMBER. You got people like that are willing to go. They're willing to crash out for their people, and they know there's a lot of them where that come from. And you know what is crazy? They got sleeper cells that are in this country. Do you guys know what sleeper cells are? Let me know if you guys know what sleeper cells are. This is why I know they don't want to. They know who to mess with. Let me tell you. I don't know if you guys know the term sleeper cells. Sleeper cells. Are you guys aware of what the term sleeper cells mean? If you guys don't know, I could explain to you what it means. Sleeper cells, right, are a secretive group of spies or terrorist agents that remain inactive within a targeted population until ordered to act. You just heard what I said? I'm gonna read it again so you guys can hear it clearly. Sleeper cells are a secretive group of spies, or you know what it means? Okay, are terrorist agents that remain inactive within a target population until ordered to act. You know that there's like probably like, I would say at least 10,000 sleeper cells in America that are like Arabs that are just waiting for the opportunity to just act. So think about it. Yeah, there's Russians. There are hella Russian sleeper cells in America too. So they know who to try this with. But like in this situation with the Arabs, right? With the Arabs or the Arabs, I'm not mispronouncing, depending on how you pronounce it. There are thousands upon thousands of sleeper cells just waiting for the opportunity to act. And all it takes is for something as this going on. Yeah, it's more. It's definitely way more. It's probably like, I think that's just being generous, like 10,000. I think there's like hundreds of thousands, if not a million. Because, Muslims are like the fastest growing population in this country. So like, shit, man, they don't want no smoke with them folks. So imagine, right? If something was to happen, like these racist mobs going after Arabs, start lynching these folks, Muslims, in mass numbers. Like they don't have to do a lot. They just have to do like a couple, right? Then you wake up the sleeper cells. All of a sudden, these groups that are just like laying dormant, all of a sudden you wake them up, and now it's all hell breaks loose. You got a situation on your hand that you can't control, and now the country is gonna have to declare a national emergency because you wake up all these sleeper cells in the country that are gonna go rogue and go out there just like strap up, watch their body, and just go into places where they know white folks or white key folks stay at, and bloop, it's game over. Or they're gonna go to the state that's happening, and they're gonna go after these folks. It's gonna be war to pay. So they know who to try with, bro. I'm like, am I making sense or anything like that? You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Cause like I'm making sense, right? Cause I know I'm not. I hope I'm not tripping. I know. I don't think I'm tripping. I think what I'm saying makes absolute sense. This is why they don't try with certain ethnic group. This is why they only go after strictly black folks. Cause we we're too divided as people, bro. We don't got writers. We do got writers, but we don't have enough. That's what I'm saying. We're too divided, and we got too much sellouts in our race. Too much raccoons. Too much sellouts. Too much people that are not willing to stand on business, bro. They don't stand for anything. And then people say they're gonna do something, they don't do it. They don't back it anything up. And so they know who to try with, because like they ain't gonna try them thing with the Arabs. Like I said, if they did that, it's gonna be war to pay, and it's gonna be so bad to the point where the country gonna have to declare national emergency, where they're gonna have to put a stop. This is when the government is gonna step in place. Excuse me. This is when the federal government is gonna come into play, and they're gonna crack down on these KKK members that are going out targeting these Arabs, these Muslims. This is when they're gonna actually do something about it, because they're like, oh, if we try this, it's gonna be war to pay. All right, they don't try it with the Mexicans, Hispanics. That's another thing too, cause I forgot to mention them too. Those also another. You see, I find it actually real disrespectful in a way that they're only going after us. You don't hear no other ethnic group being lynched. It may have happened, but I don't hear about it. Usually it's pretty much 90 something% of the time it's a black person that's being lynched. And even if it could be they could be a black Americans, and they could be a black person from Africa or the Caribbean. But usually 90 something% of the time it's a black person, but you don't hear it happening to any other ethnic group. And like you said, they can't try with the Mexicans. If they try with the Mexicans, they got the MS-13, they got all these Latino gangs that's gonna come up. They're gonna roll up. They're gonna come swinging, bro. This is why I said we need more riders in our race, bro. We got too much people that are too docile, and we're not militant. We're not militant enough, bro. Because they know who to try with. Like I said, they would never try this with no Arabs. They would not try this with no Asians. They would not try this with no Mexicans. Bro, they know who to play with. In the state of Mississippi, if they were lynching, imagine if they were lynching Mexicans in the state of Mississippi. Because I know there's Mexicans everywhere. Because these people breed faster than anybody else. I know there's Mexicans, and a lot of times they do identify as white, but you could tell that they're Hispanic. Imagine if they start lynching Mexicans, bro. MS-13 is gonna be rolled up deep in the state of Mississippi. It's gonna be war. It's gonna be war to pay, man. Like I said, they know who to play with, and like I said, I'm not saying my people are weak. Black people are very strong people. This is why they attack us in mobs, because they can't fight us one-on-one. Majority of the time, we are bigger, stronger, faster, and they can't fight us on one-on-one. So they're cowards. They have to attack us in groups. But this is when it's important for us to start thinking as a group now, not individuals, because we're strong as individuals. We could fight most of these people one-on-one. They can't hold nothing against us when it comes down to one-on-one. Physically, we're stronger than them. We'll dominate them. We'll destroy them one-on-one for the most part. I'm not saying that it's true across the board every single time, but for the most part, we would destroy them one-on-one. But you see, they attack us in groups and mobs, and this is why we have to change our mindset as a race. Now we can't think as individuals. And you know what's crazy? Black folks, we see something happen, like a innocent black man and woman. That's usually they don't go after older people. They usually go after young. This is what also should make us even angrier, because they're literally like killing the best of our race, like the ones that are in their prime years. in their 20s, in their 30s, and even in their early 40s, prime years, when they're the strongest, they're the most fittest. You know what I mean? Like when they're able to do the most, during when they have the most vitality, life, more energy, the most energy, they go after the strongest of our race. So like that's we should take that as an offense, but they're like they just plucking us out one by one. But this is why we have to change our mindset. We have to be more militant, and we can't be thinking as individuals. Now we got to think as a collective, because the mobsters are thinking collectively. They're going after. They doing a. It's a coordinated effort to target lone black people. They're not going after any ethnic group. Why is it that they don't lynch any other ethnic group? You don't see. I mean, they may. I heard. I don't know if. There may be a case where they have lynched an Hispanics, like a Mexican. I don't know if I've ever. I don't think I've ever heard of them lynching an Asian. I don't think I've ever heard of them lynching a Muslim. Definitely, I never heard of them lynching no Arabs, because they know there's hell to play if they try to do that with Arabs, man. So that's what I'm saying, bro. They know who to play with. And I'm not saying we are weak people, but we have to be more militant, man. We have to be more militant. You know what I mean? The Bible said my people are destroyed by the lack of knowledge. And it's like, if you don't know your enemy, you're going to be defeated. Now you're vulnerable, and now you're easy to be attacked. But you got to know your enemy. The art of war. The art of war says you got to know your enemy. You see, I'm thinking militant, bro. I'm thinking as like, yo, this is war. And I'm not saying we need to go out there and commit any type of acts of violence, because we as people are loving people. We're very accepting of others. But this is to our own downfall, because when you be too accepting of outsiders, it gives room for people to come in and insert themselves in your own space, and then you let your guard down, and now they strike you because they're snakes. But let's continue with this video, because I don't be on too live. I'm not gonna be on for too long. I could probably go a little longer, but let's continue with this video, because 1 second.
Placed in mailboxes. There was always that threat, you better lock your car. You never knew what you might find in your automobile when you return. And also you had threats against your person and family.
But despite all attempts at intimidation, the FBI's presence in the state was about to increase more than 100-fold. While setting up their COFO operations center in Meridian, Mississippi, Michael Schwerner and his wife Rita were joined by a 20-year-old plasterer named James Cheney.
This is my wife Rita.
Hi. How are you? Good to have you.
Fine.
Cheney, a Meridian native, knew the culture and political climate of the area.
Okay, here.
24-year-old Michael Schwerner, a liberal from the Bronx, had an Ivy League degree in social work. His background couldn't have been more different from Cheney's, but the men were united in their goals. Schwerner's friends called him Mickey, a name he seldom heard outside the office.
Townspeople, and I'm talking now about the Klansmen in Meridian, called him Goatee. He wore a goatee. And they called him the devil.
Hi, I'm speaking Bob Moses.
Schwerner and Cheney were later joined by Andrew Goodman, 20, a volunteer from Queens, New York, who had finished his training in Ohio just 1 week earlier.
Yeah, you can just put in that box right there. We'll be just leaving in a second.
While Rita Schwerner returned to New York, the 3 men and other volunteer staff prepared for the first group of 200 civil rights workers from up north. The first wave of the invasion, scheduled to arrive on June 21st, 1964. That morning, Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman drove from their base in Meridian to Longwood, 35 miles away, to talk to the Mount Zion church members before. Cheney, who knew the area, would drive. As they vanguarded the march to freedom, the men knew that trouble likely lay ahead. Their ground rules were unambiguous. Stick to the main roads, cooperate with authorities, and never travel at night. They planned to be back that afternoon. Schwerner told his staff to call the COFO office in Jackson if he didn't phone in by 4 p.m. He never made the call. When Mickey Schwerner failed to phone his office at the scheduled time, the FBI was notified. They in turn contacted local authorities to see if anyone had seen Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman. Someone had. According to Neshoba County Deputy Cecil Price, The trio was returning from Longwood that afternoon when he pulled them over outside of Philadelphia, Mississippi, 38 miles from Meridian.
Look at it. Look at these white T devils, bro. You see what they did? They literally abducted this innocent black man. Didn't commit any crime. They just yanked him out of the car, and they're assaulting him right now. My nose is stuffy, but you see what they did doing to this man? He hasn't done anything wrong, and look how they treating him. I'm tired of these folks, bro. I'm tired of these folks.
They were brought to the county jail in Philadelphia.
Didn't do anything wrong.
Cheney was booked on a speeding charge.
I need to make a phone call.
The others were held in connection with the burning of Mount Zion Church.
What do you know about that? Nothing, sir.
Cheney was locked in a cell designated for black prisoners. Schwerner and Goodman shared a different cell.
Say yes, sir, no, sir.
They weren't allowed to make a phone call until dinner time, hours after their 4 o'clock call-in time had passed. According to another person sharing the cell, when the jailer's wife told Schwerner he could make a collect call, he declined. No one knows why. Eventually, after Schwerner paid Cheney $20 bond,
You know what I think?
Deputy Price released the man.
You know what I think it should have happened? I honestly believe black folks should have been armed and ready, even that time, because I believe they were freed from slavery, right? So they had certain rights that white folks had, and if I'm not mistaken, they had the right to bear arms too. So during this time, black people should have been like armed to the T. They should have had like national security guard protecting these churches, and like they may get attacked by a whole lot, but at least you gotta take out some of these folks, because right now, look at there's about 4 of them walking after they burned the church. If we had some black person that would stand by and they had a gun on them, take out a few of these folks. I guarantee you, if there was more of the black people fighting back, because I don't like I said, I don't believe violence is the answer, but I believe sometimes you have to resort to doing that in order to make a statement. And I believe in that time, if more black folks would have just, I don't care if I live or as long as I give my life to Christ and I repent of my sins, Lord, you understand my situation. These people are coming after my family. They're trying to harm me and my loved ones. I'm gonna have to defend myself by all means necessary. God will understand. I don't think God will judge you because of that. And so you got to defend what's yours. So somebody come and just take a few of them out. Listen, you're not gonna take out every single person, but one less person is better than more people to deal with. But we're too docile as people, bro. Because they don't do this with any other ethnic group, man.
By then it was 10:30 p.m.
Come back to Philadelphia again.
They know who to
What
try
happened
with.
next was anyone's guess.
As long as they were missing, you had some hope.
I'm alive.
If they had turned up in jail and they were still in jail, then you had some hope. The issue was the release at a certain time
I'm
of night
alive.
from the jail, and then they're missing.
Yo, cuz, you called me and I'm alive.
That means the worst.
Agent Sullivan, too, feared the worst. He suspected that
If
the
I-
civil rights
if I
workers
answer you,
weren't sent to
cuz-
release, but more likely handed over to the Klan.
Cuz,
I was familiar
I'm
with
live. I can't.
the
I'm still
lockup
live. Send me,
then
text me,
give
text
away
me.
the prisoners
Text me, cuz.
instead of releasing them. I was familiar with this sort of thing. I was quite sure that this was what was in progress.
The disappearance was chilling news to the student volunteers scheduled to arrive in Mississippi the next day.
My
But people throughout the state had a different
my stream
view.
went out.
The Mississippi response was, this is a hoax, and
Wait, my
these
stream went
people
out?
have really staged this to get national attention,
Wait,
and they're
my
up
stream
hiding
went out. I'm
someplace
still
in
live, cuz.
New York or some other place, right? And this is just
still
all a
live.
big publicity stunt. That was the official Mississippi
I'm
response.
still live.
There were widespread rumors, and we were told, I think it appeared in the papers too, that these people had set up a scam here and
I
then
see it.
vanished to Cuba, where they would leave the state of Mississippi embarrassed by
Still
what
going
had
on.
happened to them.
The investigation began with Deputy Price,
Let me
the
check
last
my
person to
channel.
have seen Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman.
They're right there.
He stuck with the story of releasing them around 10:30 p.m., but he couldn't account for his
Nah,
own
I'm still
whereabouts for
live.
about an hour afterward.
I'm still live.
For Joe Sullivan, dispatched from Memphis to lead the investigation, it was the only clue,
Any idea which direction they were traveling?
and not much of one.
All I know is they got in their car, headed out of town, just like we told them to.
Stream
The sheriff's
unavailable.
office was a participant.
That's kind of weird.
That I was sure. I didn't have any proof.
1 second,
All I had was
guys. Let me check
a
something.
history of having seen this sort of thing before.
Well, we pulled them in.
Let me check something. You guys could hear it, right?
At that point, I became more
I
selective.
gotta check
about
something because my cousin is
who
telling
we
me
were
that
telling
my
what we were
stream
doing.
is not live.
The FBI began a search for any
Right.
signs of the young man.
It looks like
No
I'm
one had
still
seen him,
live.
or at least they were
It
saying
looks like
so.
I'm still live.
Then, on June 25th, 2
Nah, I'm
days after
still
their
live.
disappearance, their station wagon was
I'm
found.
still live.
2 Choctaw Indians from a nearby reservation
Live.
had come across the FBI began a search for any signs of the young man.
Looks like I'm still live. I'm still live.
50 feet from the highway in Philadelphia. When they learned of its
I'm still live. Cause I'm still live. There's no way. I think something with your stream is your something wrong with your channel.
Dispatched from Washington.
Cause there's no way.
An expert in firearms
You gotta
and
check your
explosives,
channel.
he's seen more than his share of civil rights violence.
Something may be wrong with your channel.
When he arrived at the scene, he wasn't optimistic about what the car would reveal.
In examining the burned out vehicle, we were looking for any evidence of human remains. We were also looking then for any evidence that may have been left behind of any value in determining what happened to the civil rights workers.
The car was too far gone to provide any clues.
Yeah, something's wrong with his channel. Who else is in the live stream? Can you let me know?
Investigators found something
Like,
promising.
cause I'm still live. I don't know. My cousin called me saying that my live stream. What? It's only available for you, not.
Watch it stop.
Damn, for real? He said it's only available for me, not the viewers. That's weird. What the hell?
The vehicle hadn't been recovered very long before the
It
news
still
was out, the
says-
police wires and the press wires,
says
and the
something.
neighbors wires and the radio and so on. We started to run
What the hell?
a stadium at Bochito, and that wasn't easy.
For those
Oh,
the
he's
discovery of
right.
The car only supported the idea of a hoax.
Ah, they suspended. Alright, cuz.
Alive had faded.
It's good
It
now?
was obvious from the beginning that we were
It's good
leaving until the
now.
bodies
Say
were-
something in the comment section,
Mr.
cuz.
Hoover wouldn't have countenanced that, and for that matter, neither would the
Say
general
something in the
public.
comment section.
We were going to find those bodies.
Say something in the comment section
It
because
took
that's weird, bro. Why they trying to police my channel, bro?
Director J. Edgar Hoover to ask
This is
William
why I can't stand this
I told
YouTube
them that,
shit, bro.
I thought I would need at least 25 men in short order
That's
I thought it would
crazy.
be more
YouTube be on some
than
BS, man.
if it developed the way I was afraid it would.
Yo, that's
And,
crazy, bro.
He said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna need 100
YouTube,
men."
shoot me a message, cuz.
There are 100 men.
Shoot me a message in the live stream.
Soon 100 agents, aided by student volunteers, descended on Philadelphia.
Okay, up back now. All right, cool. You see how they trying to suppress the truth? Wait, we're gonna go back and play from a little bit. You see how these people trying to suppress the truth? They don't want me to talk about these issues, and it's like they just want the truth to be. Yeah, they are messing with my channel. Like they're definitely messing with my channel. They're trying to shadow ban me, and this is why I said we as people gotta come together as one, because we got so much things set in place. Damn, went out again? Bro, what is going on? This is crazy, bro. They're going after my channel, man. They're trying to suppress my channel, man. They're trying to suppress my channel. They really don't want the truth to be spoken, man. This is crazy, bro. They're going after my channel. What the hell, man? Wow. Oh my god, they're trying to silence me, man. Anybody else is in the live stream? If so, okay, I'm back up. What's going on? This is weird, bro. It looks good on my end, but you saying that on your side, you're seeing something else. I don't see nothing on my end that points to my channel um being strike for anything. It's weird because I would have seen something on my end to let me know that something is up. What is going on here, man? Unbelievable, man. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. So they really put a strike on this channel. I can't comment. I see you. I see. Oh, I can't comment. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna end this live stream. This is ridiculous. I'm gonna have to come back again. This is crazy. YouTube trying to silence me. Alright.